Hello and welcome to this all-new episode of the Fairfax Sports Report. I'm your host, Monica Moore, and we have a great episode for you tonight. We have information, news, and notes about almost all of the winter sports, so stay tuned for that. But before we get to that, we want to thank the folks that help make this program possible, our good friends at CCI Screen Printing. For all of your screen printing needs, contact them at 703-978-0257. Also, don't forget that you can get copies of every single game that we do at the Fairfax Sports Network, as well as copies of this program at www.pressboxvideo.com. Don't forget to check out our website at www.fairfaxsportsnetwork.com. It is new and improved. One of our newest features is the Video Vault feature. You can see interviews and highlights from a lot of the events that we've been to throughout the region, so check that out. Finally, we have a brand new Facebook page. You can go onto our Facebook page and become a fan of the Fairfax Sports Network. All right, well, I am delighted to be joined in the studio today by Roy Hill, the head coach of the Hayfield Wrestling Program. Welcome, Coach Hill.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Coach, I know that your team recently competed in the Patriot District Championships. You finished second to a very strong South County team. What were some of the highlights of that match for your team?
Well, the tournament was a tough tournament for us, but our young kids got a lot of experience, and our veteran kids came through and wrestled very well. So we're looking forward to the regional tournament. South County has a very strong veteran team, so they've really stepped it up here at the end of the year. So it's really going to be an exciting regional tournament, I think.
Well, speaking of some of your veteran athletes who had a very strong performance at the Patriot District Tournament, I know that Ray Borja has just had an outstanding career at Hayfield, and in fact, this season he got the career win statistic for the program. Can you talk a little bit about him and some of the things that he's achieved while he's been at Hayfield?
Well, I'll tell you, Ray's really been a godsend because he came in as a freshman, his first time wrestling, and it's very unusual for an athlete to reach his level in 4 years. But he's a great student, and he's a student of the sport, and he's a leader. He's really done a great job, and I think his best is in front of him.
Well, I know that the Washington Post has him ranked, I think, third in the area in his weight class. Is that something that the athletes pay attention to, and does that add any additional pressure to have that type of regional attention?
Well, any athlete says he doesn't pay attention to it is not being honest, but at the same time, you can't let that distract you from preparing or from getting yourself mentally prepared to give your best effort, because it could be a hindrance.
Now, of course, a lot of people talk about Ray, and it's hard not to with everything that he's achieved, but you have a pretty outstanding class of seniors across the board, and another one that I've been very impressed with is JP Ithier. I know that he has agreed or committed to go to the Naval Academy starting in July, and he was another one of your athletes that won an individual title at the tournament. How has he grown throughout his experience in the Hayfield program?
Well, JP, again, started out as a freshman, and, he wasn't what we call a natural athlete. He didn't just pick this up very easily. He had to work very hard, and he had some struggles early on. But he's very committed, and he's a hard worker. He's a great young man, and he's also an outstanding student. So he's come a long way, and trying to convince him to keep wrestling in college. But he's what you would epitomize as a student athlete.
Well, we've been talking a lot about the Patriot District Tournament, and I imagine that this one was a little bit bittersweet for your team because it will be their last time competing in it, as Hayfield will be moving out of the Patriot District. Was this something that your team was thinking about going through that event? Was there even more pride on the line?
Well, most definitely. You want to leave a lasting impression, and as you mentioned, we're moving into the National District, and for our kids, it was bittersweet. South County had some wrestlers with teammates with some of our guys 3 years ago, so it's almost like a big brother not wanting to lose to his little brother as well. But we just have to take the path that's given to us and move forward.
Now, I know a little bit about your coaching philosophy, and I know that when you start at the beginning of the season, practices are a bit longer, and as the season progresses, it tapers a little bit, but it still has that level of intensity. Can you talk a little bit, you've been at this for a long time, about the philosophy you've developed?
Well, I would love to sit here and sound like some guru, but it's been trial and error, and I'm chagrined to say probably one of the best teams I ever had in terms of athletic ability. We overtrained them. We peaked too soon. And you know, wrestling is a tournament sport, so you've got to be ready at the end of the year. And so it takes a coach stepping back and letting his ego go to the side and having faith that you prepared your athletes throughout the year to get ready. But at this time of the year, they've got to get mentally and physically recharged. And that can be tough to do. It really can be tough to step back.
Now, I know you've got the 6 seniors that we've been talking about. You also have a lot of underclassmen. How have the seniors helped them this year to prepare to continue to carry on that Hayfield tradition?
It's been a interesting situation because, as you noted, we really have a team that is really split in regards to having experience, and the young guys have. I mean, I have to give it to them. They're eager and they're hardworking, but you just can't hurry experience. The older guys have been trying, but you know the saying goes: you can't, you can lead a horse to water, you can't force him to drink. But the older guys have done their best to put a little salt in their mouths to make them thirsty. But they'll be there. You know, it's just a process.
And speaking of these younger guys, are there any that you are really expecting to step into the shoes of the Ray Borjas and the other seniors?
Well, there's several. We had a lot of sophomores on the varsity and JV, and some are quite talented. And I don't want to point any particular ones out, but there's definitely the potential there to step in. And I don't know if anybody ever filled those shoes, but they'll do more than handle themselves admirably.
Now you have 8 wrestlers who are going on to compete at the Northern Region Tournament this coming weekend. Are there specific things that they're working to improve upon going into that tournament?
Oh, most definitely. You know, a good athlete wants to work on his weakest areas and make them into areas of strength, not focus totally on his strong areas. And so it can be ego deflating to do so, but that's what we've been doing. So hopefully we'll be a little wiser and able to perform under duress. So that's what we're looking for.
Well, Coach, during your career at Hayfield, you have put together some impressive numbers for your program. I think it's something like 9 Patriot District Championships, a number of region championships, and some very strong state showings as well. What are the things that you think have contributed to just having that continual success at Hayfield?
Well, number one is our coaching staff. I've been blessed to have some outstanding assistant coaches that have been with the program for a long time. One coach, Nimmons, has been there since 1994 as an assistant, and he's turned down numerous opportunities to stay with the program. And it's really been neat in the last 5 or 6 years to have some former wrestlers who've gone on to college and then gotten the degrees to come back. And they want to contribute to the program as well. So it's a very strong family atmosphere, and I think that allows you to push each other that much harder. So.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining us. We wish your athletes the best of luck this weekend.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
All right, we are going to take a quick break, and we'll come right back with more FSR. Welcome back to the Fairfax Sports Report. Now we're going to shift gears a little bit and talk about some indoor track. And now I am joined in the studio by Clifford Wong, the head coach of the Marshall indoor track team. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you very much.
Now, your team, of course, recently competed at the Liberty District Championships, and one athlete that just had an outstanding day was Brittany Johnson. I know that she won, I think, all 3 jumping events. She had a great showing in the 300 meters and the 55 meters. What are the things that you think make her such a complete athlete?
I just think, Brittany is she's very talented. She's a naturally gifted athlete. So she has worked hard. She's put in some work. We put her through some tests this year, trying to get her put her in the weight room more, putting in the more strength work, trying to get stronger, have her run some of the longer distance in preparation for the championships. And she just excelled, natural talent, natural ability, and just it showed up at the right time, at the right place, which is districts, which is it's great to have your athletes show up at championships, so that helps.
Now, I know that one great thing for a coach is having an athlete like Brittany who younger athletes can look at her and see what she's achieved throughout her career, through all the hard work. How do you think having an athlete on your team like Brittany helps influence the younger athletes?
No, for us as a smaller school, it helps. We're a small school, there's less available athletes. So having Brittany or any other of our athletes do well at districts, that helps in terms of attracting athletes to the sport. So it helps when the athletes is ranked regionally, nationally, and also, of course, winning district title. It helps a lot in terms of not necessarily recruiting, but it helps bring the program to light. When they're in terms of basketball and wrestling and swimming. So we do track sometimes get the leftovers, but when we have good athletes, we get some of the best ones. So that helps.
Well, the leftovers have been pretty great for Marshall because another athlete that has been outstanding is Mara Gross. Now, I know that she's only a junior and she was injured at the beginning of the season, but won her event at the Liberty District Championship. Can you talk a little bit about her journey throughout the season?
Mara is a special athlete. She actually was not one of the leftovers. She actually volunteered back in her freshman year. She wanted to do track. She knew it. She enjoyed throwing. Marshall has a great throwing tradition. We had Coach Swarm used to be the coach. He's now the interim AD for a school. So we have had a really good throwing tradition, and she just stepped right into it. This is her second district title, actually winning. And she worked hard. She loves working. She loves competing. She loves doing well. And it helps when she's coached by also one of the better throwers we had in Marshall history. He still holds Coach Jose Patriot. He still holds the district title actually at the meets. And so she worked hard. Great athlete, great student. She's very supportive. She's one of our leaders. So all that positiveness about her just translates into her work, into her competition. And when she gets there in the circle, it's all competition. She'll be the nicest person outside of it. When she gets there, she's a fierce competitor, and that helps a lot.
Now, I know that it's not atypical at Marshall for you to have the top women's athlete in the shot put and the top men's athlete as well at the districts. And this year, you did have that. Alexander Suarez was the male athlete that won that event. Can you talk a little bit about him and his progress throughout the season?
Well, Lex, we call him Lex. I know he's going through some stuff. He's going through a tough time. But one good thing about him is that when it comes to competing, and like I said, Marshall has a great throwing tradition. And he's just built on that. Him and Mara just built on that, and he just worked hard. He has the talent. He works hard and. It's just come. So he's a good kid. He likes throwing. Like I said, and it's good that he has the coaches that he have to mentor under. That helps a whole lot. And the kids he likes loves life. So that helps. That throwing just part of his life. So.
Now, who are some of the younger athletes that are going to be coming up through the next few years that you think are going to help carry on some of these traditions at Marshall?
Yeah, one of the athletes that we didn't mention who actually is going to regionals this year is Courtney Harbishard. She's actually pretty good. She qualified in the 1600 and the 1000. And she's probably going to be the leader. She's going to be our leader. Brittany's a junior, Mara's a junior, and she's a sophomore. And last year she qualified in 2 events for regional championships, and she's going to be her leader. We were expecting a big class in next year and the year after that. So she's going to be there to be their leader the next year, and she's a great kid, good student, great athlete, and I think she's going to surprise some people at regionals this season.
Now, you have another athlete on your team who's a senior, Nicole Brown, I think, and she did very well in the 55-meter hurdle. She also does the shot put. Is that a rare combination amongst athletes to excel at both of those events?
I'm from Maryland, and in Maryland they have 4 running events. That's it. In Virginia, you have unlimited field events, and she's just been a good athlete. I mean, I've written about her a little bit on my website, but she has tried every sport in Marshall. She's tried golf, volleyball, and she's a very good lacrosse player, actually. I think she already have a scholarship in lacrosse.
Wow.
But she tried track this year, and she just excels. She's a great athlete. You know, you put her in the arena, she excels. You know, she did all the jumps. She did all the jumps. She did the shot put, she did the 500, she did 300, and she did the hurlers, which is our better event. She got second in the 55 hurlers. She qualified in the 500 in sixth place, and surprisingly, we actually had her only try the shot put because we were trying to win districts, and she ended up getting third place. We had that happen when we won district title 2 years ago. We had Jacqueline Hargrove there, and she did everything too. She did jumps and sprints, and she ended up. We put her in just for points, and she ended up winning the event. So I think the tradition that Marshall has with throwing, that helps a whole lot. That helps a whole lot in terms of we have good coaches there to teach them. So, and I know that helps a lot in terms of getting those kids, multi-talented kids, to excel. We have a great coaching staff of. She had a new hurler coach, and the hurler coach, she really helps.
Well, in looking at your website, you have an exceptional coaching staff. I know Daryl General is on your coaching staff as well as some others. So I do want to give you a chance to talk about just this exceptional group of people that has been compiled together to work with the athletes at Marshall.
Well, I've been I started coaching at Marshall since 2002. I actually took a year off last year, but I mean I've been lucky. All the people that I've worked with have been very good coaches. They're athletes. Daryl still competes. Daryl's actually a Hall of Famer, Marine Corps Martin, two-time Hall of Famer, two-time winner. Coach Robinson is our jump coach, Teddy Robinson. He went to the University of Maryland, jumped 7 feet. He still competes. He competes. Actually, matter of fact, he's going to compete at nationals. And of course, Jose Portilla, he was one of the best athletes at Marshall. He went to college. He went to Temple. He started guard for them, and also he still competes a little bit, and the expertise that we have there. And then we have a new hurl coach, Mindy Harmon. She just came over this year. She used to be at Heritage, and I mean, if you look at our hurling, it's a jump. Nicole's ranked 5th in the region, and also we have Aaron Anderson. He's not a senior, and he didn't even want to try hurlers. He wanted to do 300 hurls outdoors. I said, go ahead and try it, and Now he fell in love with our coaching style, and now he got third at districts, broke the school record. So I mean, we got some great coaches, and the kids love them. They connect great with the kids. The kids love them, and all the kids that ever competed on the track team, they love it. They come back. They love the coaches. So we have a good staff that helps. That helps a whole lot when you have good people to work with. It makes it easy. It makes it fun. So. No, my job's actually easy. I'm just there to manage and do paperwork. So that's fun for me.
Well, Coach, I can't let you get out of here without asking you this question because, of course, the biggest story about indoor track this season so far has been the proposed budget cuts. And, of course, indoor track is in Tier 3, so may not be in as much jeopardy as some other programs, but still maybe a little disconcerting that it has been named as one of the sports that's being considered. Can you talk about some of the reasons why it's very important to have this program for these high school athletes?
It's important because of the numbers. All the other teams have restrictions. Basketball have 12 to 15. JV varsity. Swimming have, I'm not sure how many swimming have. And then also you have, there's one more sport, wrestling. And there's class.
Right. And
with track, there's no restrictions. If you have any idea you just want to compete, you can join track. It's not expensive. You need running shoes, you show up to practice, and you work. It's catered to 25 to 2,700 kids. They're trying to cut indoor track compared to spring track or cross country is kind of it's unbelievable because winter track actually gets more athletes.
Right.
In the wintertime, there's four main sports and 5 main sports with gymnastics, and it's the biggest number. So I don't understand why you would cut indoor track, which is the biggest number. Where are those kids going to go? 2,700 kids in the county. Where are they going to go? What are they going to do? A lot of kids that would be getting in trouble. Would try to find things to do. You don't want kids to have to go find things to do. You want to keep them somewhere where it's organized, where an environment where it's productive for them. And what we try to teach our kids is not just track, life lessons, teach them things they can use in life. The track is, it's great, you want to compete, you want to do it in district, but I think if they learn how to understand how track relates to life, the track running is easy. But I don't understand how you can cut indoor track. It doesn't make no sense. But no, it's not trending to be cut first, but hopefully things turn around. So.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining us. I wish your team the best of luck 2 weeks at the Northern Region Championships.
Oh, thank you very much. All right.
We are going to take another quick break, and when we come back, we'll have more of the Fairfax Sports Report. Welcome back to the Fairfax Sports Report. Continuing on, moving from indoor track now to the sport of gymnastics. And now I am joined in the studio by Danielle Morrison, the head coach of the Madison Gymnastics team. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, Coach, I know that your team recently competed in the Gymnastics Liberty District Championships. What were some of the highlights of that meet for your team?
Sure. We finished 4th out of 8 teams with 124 all around, which is big progress for us because our team just started up 3 years ago where we finished 7th out of 8 teams. And we have 2 girls that have advanced to regionals, which are tomorrow, as individuals, both on bars. So we're quite happy. It's a lot of great progress we're making to go from a team who 3 years ago did not have 1 individual qualify for regionals to now at least have 2.
And speaking of advancing from the beginning to where you are now, what were some of your team's goals for the season?
My personal goal as a coach has been to continue to grow the team. They say that it takes 3 years to get a foundation of a team, and I feel after completing this season, or actually almost close to competing this season, that we finally have built a solid foundation. And the girls know that that's been my mission, to kind of get support for gymnastics within the school and within the team and have it grow from there.
Now, you're talking about these 2 athletes who are going on to compete at regionals. How have you seen your team improve as the season has progressed?
I think with gymnasts, a lot of it has to do with trust. I have a lot of athletic girls on the team, but they need to have confidence in their coach to be able to spot them and to know that their coach is advising them correctly. I don't know if you necessarily need to have that relationship in other sports, but when you are holding a body in the air, gymnasts need to know that their coach can take care of them. And so as I've developed that trust with the girls throughout the season, they've improved because they believe me when I say, you can do this. I'm going to spot you. You will be okay. And as they've trusted me, their skills have developed more, and they've just become an all-around solid team now.
Now, tomorrow is a big day in the region because it is the Northern Region Gymnastics Championships. What have your athletes been doing to prepare for the event tomorrow?
Practice, practice, practice. They've been at the gym. They're still at the gym as we speak right now. And, they're just getting in those bar routines. We're trying to perfect every little last skill that they have. We're trying to take out extra swings. We're actually, even at the last minute, trying to add in new moves, if possible. Wow. So it's down to the wire, and honestly, even up to the final competition, during warm-ups, we may be changing a routine or 2.
Wow, so is that typical to change the routine even at this late date in the season?
It depends. Because there's so much on the line here to advance to states, you have to weigh having a close to perfect routine or getting a bonus high superior by maybe adding in an additional skill. So we warm it up and we see if it's going well. Yes, last minute we'll throw it in and we'll take a risk.
Now, it's obviously important for all athletes to work during the off season, but for gymnasts, I think it must be particularly important. What are some of the things that members of your team do during the off season to prepare for the season?
Sure. Some of them are part of club gyms, and they go and they pick back up, once high school gymnastics ends. Some of them actually do club and high school gymnastics at the same time. And I stress to my girls that it's just important to be engaged in a sport. A lot of them do cheer, a lot of them do swim and dive, and again, all those sports typically offer, summer seasons, clubs and whatnot. I'm not that too familiar with outside of the high school and club what they offer in terms of gymnastics, but I stress just conditioning, keeping the body maintained. And it's funny you ask because just yesterday I sent an email out to the team saying to them, do not think if you don't train until next winter that you will pick up where you left off. It's not going to happen. If you're listening, girls, it's not going to happen. Work out, stay in shape, build up the muscle.
Sounds like good advice from their coach.
Yes.
Now, earlier in the program, I was talking with a head indoor track coach about the proposed budget cuts. And of course, your sport has been the one that I think has been the most talked about because it is in all of the tiers of the budget cuts. Can you talk about some of the reasons why it's important to maintain gymnastics at the high school level?
Sure. I have to say, I just think it's important to keep sports, gymnastics, indoor track, whatever it is, involved in the high schools because first, it gives the kids an opportunity to be at school rather than be at home with no supervision after school or have them out on the streets. It also allows the kids to develop team building. You know, especially with gymnastics, it's not just an individual sport, which it is in many ways. I mean, we do push them individually, but they also have the chance to be collaborative with one another. And you know, in terms of gymnastics, I think it's important to keep it because there are less options. You know, most girls don't want to do club because club is highly competitive and it does cost a lot of money. You know, high school gymnastics is free. Club can be extremely expensive. We're talking hundreds of dollars a month. And some people may not feel that they want to invest that type of money in a sport that they're good at, but they're not great in.
Are there other opportunities? I mean, if high school gymnastics was cut and an athlete did not want to participate at the club level, would that be pretty much the only options available?
The only options available that I'm aware of, I don't know if perhaps YMCAs and other outreach programs like that may offer gymnastics programs, but I'm not familiar with them and I don't think most others are familiar with them. But typically it's high school gymnastics or club. And you know, club's expensive. Club is takes a lot of your time. It's a lot more demanding. High school gymnastics, there's a lot of fun involved in it, and I think that's why you do see club kids crossing over because they get to be a little bit more relaxed as well as get the opportunity to compete at the same time.
I'm sure, and represent their schools and get varsity letters and all of those things.
Definitely.
Now, the reason that this is all being talked about is to save money, but it's my understanding that most of these programs at schools are small and the equipment has already been purchased by the schools. So could you just talk a little bit generally about the amount of money that it's costing to support these programs?
I can't give you a line item. I just know what's been reported in the Post, which is overall the sport of gymnastics costs approximately $220,000. Now, don't get me wrong, that's a large number. I understand. And you know, I understand the county, they're just looking to shave off some funds here and there, and they're gonna have to do it somewhere. You know, compared to other sports, we are a cheaper sport, but compared to other sports, our participation numbers look lower, but that's also because gymnastics, there's a safety issue. I can't have a gymnastics team of 50 girls because 2 coaches to 50 girls is just not safe. So, you know, I understand the arguments both ways. You know, of course I'm biased, it's my sport, I hope we get to keep it around.
I know that a lot of the teams do fundraisers anyway to support their programs. Have other options been discussed about charging athletes fees or doing more fundraisers in order to help maintain some of the sports, not just gymnastics, but even other sports?
You know, I can't really speak to that because I'm unsure. I do know that the gymnastics parents have begun a large mobilization in getting the word out that they want the sport saved. I know I was present at the public hearing and there was a lot of parents there and a lot of gymnasts that spoke, which was great to see that support for our sport. But I think that there are alternatives, but I do think that Fairfax County is trying to find the best solution. You know, as far as I understand, I think that everyone's open to not taking anything away from the kids, but then again, there has to be room to make cuts if they can't find a solution to kind of, you know, I guess normalize the budget.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Wish your athletes the best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you. Go Warhawks.
We are going to take another short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about National District basketball. Back to the Fairfax Sports Report. Now we are transitioning into another one of our winter sports. We're going to talk a little bit about basketball, and specifically National District basketball. So let's take a look at what the rankings look like at this juncture of the season. A very hotly contested district. You see Mount Vernon on top, just clinched the National District Championship, or I'm sorry, the regular season championship, followed by Stuart, Yorktown, Wakefield, Washington Lee, Edison, and Falls Church. Lots of great National District basketball has been happening, and I have gotten to see a lot of these games. Recently, got to see the Wakefield-Yorktown game, which was an exceptionally exciting game. It was a game you did not want to leave. Before the game, I got the opportunity to talk with both coaches, and we also got some great highlights for you of the event.
Last game was against Stuart, and I know you split with them this season. What were the things that your team took away from that loss to Stuart a couple of days ago?
Well, we played Stuart twice this year, and like you said, we split. And Stuart's a tough team, fast-paced. They play a matchup zone. So one thing that this game will help us for, because Yorktown plays a zone similar to Stuart. So we've got to be patient tonight and take our time and try to not force things and just play within our round.
Now, of course, one of the big stories about this game is you guys are neck and neck in the National District. You guys are one game behind. Is that something that your players are thinking about going into this matchup?
Yeah, we try not to. We take it one game at a time, and then it's also tough having Yorktown being our rival. So that adds a lot to it. But we just want to take it one game at a time and then just let the chips fall where they may. We still got 3 or 4 more games left in the district, but definitely want to take care of business tonight.
Now, of course, you've played Yorktown before. What are the big things you're focusing on tonight to beat them?
Well, the main thing is Richard Villa has done a wonderful job here at Yorktown. He runs, I like to call him the Bayheim of the National District, because he runs a zone, and he does a great job of it. And for a team like us, it doesn't suit us. And so they do a great job of being patient, and that's what we've got to take tonight. We've got to be patient tonight against the zone, and we like to score 95 points or 80 points a game, and last time we played Yorktown, they held us to 47. And if you hold us under 50 or so, you got a good chance. So they've done a good job, so we want to just be patient tonight and come out and play hard.
You have an outstanding young player on your team, Jonathan Ford, who can really put up some impressive numbers. What have you been most impressed with about his performance on the court this season?
Well, the main thing is that everyone knows we have Jonathan Ford, so everything is geared to stop him. And he's had some triple doubles this year. He's done phenomenal, and he's learned how this year to be a team player. So the main thing, he knows that he can only go as far as his teammates. So, John's a good player, but we have other good players on the team. But I'm impressed with the way that he's able to handle double teams and everyone focusing on him. But he loves to pass the ball just as well as he does to score. But he's a good talent, so we're happy to have him on our team.
And in addition to Jonathan, have there been any players who have really impressed you with how they've stepped up their game this season?
Well, I think it's a team effort. When you have a player like John, he shines. I mean, he's 6'4", he's an inside-outside player, so everything's concentrated on him. But Romeo Goffney is our starting point guard, and he's our football player as well, too, and he just brings the toughness to the team. Corey Levenberry is another senior who's a wing guy who's very athletic and plays well. Gerard Brown comes off the bench for us and plays tough defense. And Robel Getu, who no one knows about, is a really good shooter. And I hope tonight he has a good night, because we're facing a zone team. So very excited about the team that we have.
Well, Coach, good luck on the game tonight.
Thank you very much.
Coach, your team has been playing exceptionally well in a very competitive national district. What have you been most pleased with about your team's performance so far this season?
Defense, rebounding, running our offense, trying to keep opponents from, reaching their, what they're used to scoring in ball games. Some teams are used to scoring 80 and 70. We're trying to keep them in the 50s or 40s if possible.
Which players on your team have been the defensive specialists that you think have really keyed that defense?
We don't really have like a defense specialist. We'll play our zone, match it up sometimes, go man. It all depends on, who we're playing against. I mean, each team in our district they're all different. So sometimes, we'll make some adjustments on defense, make sure we identify who the three-point shooters are, and, who are the guys that like to do things off the dribble and things of that nature. So even though we're primarily a zone team, we still have some rules out of that zone that we normally, try to stick with.
Now, of course, you've already played Wakefield, and you felt like your team played good defense during that game. What things have you been working on in practice this week to help prepare for this Wakefield team?
With the snow, we couldn't really do a whole lot. And then yesterday we only had like an hour, so we couldn't really do a lot. But, leading up the second half of the season, you play everybody twice, and you have to make some adjustments because people film your games. They scout you. So even though it may be, some of the adjustments that you make on offense or defense to the average fan, they may not see a difference, but from a coaching standpoint, hopefully they won't pick up on some of the things that we've done, and maybe that'll help us get through this, this next 4 or 5 games we have left before the playoffs roll around.
Now, of course, your team is 1 game ahead of Wakefield in the National District. Is that something that your team's been focusing on or something they keep in their minds?
Nah, we just try to play 1 game at a time. I mean, you can't get caught up in thinking like, if we win this game, if we win that game. I know it's hard, it's easy to say, but it's hard to do. So, but we just try to, treat every game like it's the first game of the season or the last game of the season. We just, every opponent is different. Every team has, tough matchup problems out there for us, So we just try to identify, try to take away their best players, try to take away what they like to do best. And I'm sure they're trying to do the same thing to us.
Now, of course, because of the weather, your last game was against Falls Church. What do you think your team took away from that performance that's helped building upon things you've been working on and helping getting you to the district tournament?
Well, we had to go to man-to-man because I didn't really like our energy that we had in our zone. So it kind of showed us that we've, I had to make a lot of substitutions. So instead of just concentrating on 5 or 6 guys, we were able to go at least 8 or 9 deep. And that's what you're going to need, as the season progresses. You're going to need more guys coming off the bench and stepping up and, giving us some key plays out there and rebounds and whatever, it's called for.
Well, Coach, best of luck against Wakefield tonight.
Thank you.
And this was a very exciting National District game. Lots of sharp shooters, lots of great performances. And there you see number 15, Kyle Toulouse for Yorktown with the layup. And then number 1, Andre Allen, he was our player of the game. He finished with 19 points for Wakefield. See Yorktown there. That was Jack Early. Oh, sorry, that was Mike Veith, who had the hot hand for Yorktown for a lot of the game. He was huge with 9 of his 21 points in the 4th quarter. And Simon Kilday been getting a lot of publicity. He is a great 3-point shooter for Yorktown. Andre Allen, again, number 1. There will be a lot of highlights of him because he was outstanding, a huge reason why Wakefield was able to defeat Yorktown. He's one of the seniors on this Wakefield team that had not yet gotten the opportunity to defeat their rivals only about 7 miles away from each other. And there you see him again. Andre Allen was not going to let his team lose this ball game. Robel Getchu was the one who had the lay-in there. And there's Simon Kilday, number 34 for Yorktown. He's a player that has been making a lot of noise throughout the season. Well, if you are a regular viewer of this program, you probably remember that early on I said that I thought the National District was going to be one of the most exciting things to watch this year in boys basketball. And now we're going to tell you about the game that I went to last Friday, which was Mount Vernon against Stuart. Before the game, I got to catch up with Mount Vernon's head coach, Alfonso Smith, so you can see what he had to say before that meeting.
I'm standing here with Coach Smith of the Mount Vernon Majors. Now, Coach, of course, you are undefeated in the district so far this season. Every single night you have a bullseye on your back. Can you talk a little bit about what that's been like for your players every night, just having people come at you?
Just having guys having to rise to the occasion. We know that there's a bullseye on our back. We had some goals to start the season. So far, we've been fortunate enough to work towards those goals. With working towards those goals, there's a certain amount of pressure that comes with that, So we have some pretty tough guys on our team, and they usually respond pretty well to pressure. So it's been a good thing just for us to grow. We played some real strong teams early on in our non-district schedule that I think really helped prepare us for some of the pressure that we faced with our district schedule and being on top.
Now, I know one of the big stories for your team this year, you've had so much depth at some of the guard positions. Can you talk a little bit about that and having so many guys that can come in off the bench and contribute for you right away in the games?
Well, we just hope that all of our guys just stay prepared, stay ready. They all work hard in practice, so we try to make sure to prepare everybody to come in and contribute. We've got some great players. They've been buying into what we've been asking them to do, staying together through adversity, through a little bit of success. So it's made what we had to do as coaches a lot easier with those guys working as hard as they have and really just coming in and trying to contribute.
Now, of course, last time you all played Stuart, it was a very close game, came down to the wire, and you got the 2-point win. I know that's got to be a lot of motivation coming in tonight. What is the message that you've been talking to your guys about this game tonight?
Well, we know that Stuart is well coached. They have players that play hard. They play strong. Very disciplined team. They execute. They know how to get the players that should have the ball to ball. So we definitely have our work cut out tonight. we were fortunate enough to come out of the last game with a 2-point win. Very good for us to fight through a close game, really helped build our character. And I think we've really been playing some good balls since then. So hopefully we'll go ahead and continue that on tonight.
And last question, one player I've certainly been very impressed with is Skyler Jones. Can you talk a little bit about his play so far this season?
So far this season, Skyler has really raised his game. He dedicated himself out of season to really getting into some great shape. He lost a few pounds that I really think helped him in terms of his mobility. And so right now he's an inside as well as an outside threat, which makes us a stronger team. It's also a testimony to his teammates because they find ways to get him the ball. So that makes, with his natural abilities and unselfish teammates, that's really made us a strong team. So.
Well, Coach, best of luck tonight.
Thank you.
Well, you just heard me ask Coach Smith about Skyler Jones. We have some highlights for you of this event, which went into overtime, so you can see for yourself why Skyler Jones has been getting so much attention. All right, and there he is, number 22 for Mount Vernon. You're going to want to keep your eyes on him, but Jesse Conadu there with the three-pointer. He is a great sharpshooter for Mount Vernon, and there's our player of the game, Skyler Jones. Number 4 there, Raymond Watson having a big day for Stuart. You see that massive block from Raymond Watson. And there you see number 3 for Mount Vernon getting the bucket, and then back out to Brian Green for the Majors. Lots of exciting dunks. That was Mo Ibrahim for Stuart with the big shot, and then back on the other end again, Brian Green, number 5. Number 5 for Stuart hitting that big 3. That's Antonio Harris Jr. Lots of big blocks in this game. Mo Ibrahim really coming up strong. Raymond Watson as well. But Mount Vernon, it was neck and neck. Mount Vernon was down almost the entire game until this thing went into overtime. You see Skyler Jones again, number 22, my player of the game, having a great season for the Majors. Another outstanding play. He had so many, you cannot even count the number of impressive plays that he had during the game. Now, there you see Trey Ford right there for Stuart. He is a sharp shooter as well, having an exceptional event for Stuart, having a great season as well. We saw him earlier in the week when Stuart played Montrose Christian. Tony Harris has lots of outstanding athletes on the team, but there you see it right there. That was the big shot from Skyler Jones that won the game in overtime. He had the game-high 24 points for Mount Vernon. Trey Ford led Stuart. Now, we have talked a lot about the National District boys. Let's talk now just a little bit about their counterparts, the National District girls. Also a very exciting race going on for the girls in the National District. You can see where their standings are right now. Mount Vernon also in top with a very slim lead there over Edison. See Yorktown and Stuart there holding strong at 3rd and 4th. Then Washington Lee, Wakefield, and Falls Church. So this is one of the districts that's still a little bit up for grabs. We don't know yet who's going to win the regular season. But recently I got to talk with Stuart women's basketball head coach Ron Wilson a little bit about what life is like for the girls in the National District.
I think one of the most important things, the last 3 ball games, Jamie Harris, our leading scorer, has gone 18, 21, and 28, and she hit 6 threes against Falls Church. So she's picked up her scoring, picked up her leadership, and she's doing very well with that.
What did you think your team did really well against Falls Church on Saturday?
Kept our composure, we rebounded well, and believe it or not, we shot 21 out of 38 from the foul line. And then they ran the offense, like it should have been ran, and overall they just played together as a team.
Now, of course, because of the weather, you also played Edison on Friday night. Was it hard for the team to regroup and then play yet another opponent on Saturday?
You could tell in the first quarter that the first few minutes that they did, kind of dragging a little bit. But, as the game went on, they picked it up. They realized that, hey, we had to win this ball game, and they forgot about Friday night because they played well against Edison Friday night, and they put a lot of energy on the court. But they came back Saturday and did very well from the second quarter on.
Now, you've already talked a little bit about Jamie, but who are some of the other players who have been really big for your team so far this season?
Bree Ford has come along very well in the post area. She's scoring the double digits the last 3 or 4 ball games. Other kids have picked it up with sophomores. We're a young ball club, so the sophomores have picked it up a little bit. The big girl, Abby, wasn't there. She was out of town. And then I've had 2 injuries, season-ending injuries. So all the kids have picked it up and, pulled the slack and done very well so far this season.
Now, finishing up in the district and then, of course, heading into the postseason, what are the things that your team needs to improve the most upon?
Making layups, hitting foul shots when we need them, just not turning the ball over at inopportune times and just controlling the tempo of the ball game.
And who have been some other players in the National District that you've been really impressed with that aren't on your team?
The young lady from Edison, the point guard they have out there, and even the young lady from WNL is very good. Of course, Mount Vernon, they have the trifecta. Those three kids out there, they're very good. And the better kid has been hurt when they played us the first time. So they have a nice little ball club. So I think it's going to come down to Edison and Mount Vernon. Hopefully we can sneak in that number 4 spot.
Well, Coach, best of luck the rest of the season.
Okay, thank you very much.
So as I said, the National District Regular Season Championship still up for grabs. One that is not still up for grabs is the Patriot District Girls Basketball Regular Season Championship. We'll show you what the standings look like. T.C. Williams on top of the district, followed by West Springfield. South County just had a huge matchup against T.C. last Friday night. We were there for that. Lee and Annandale, followed by Lake Braddock, Hayfield, and West Potomac. Now, as I said, a huge matchup last Friday night with T.C. Williams facing off against South County. Our own Jen Daniels got to catch up with a couple of the players from T.C. Williams, as well as both of the coaches from the two teams.
Standing here with our player of the game from T.C. Williams, Tiara Ruffin-Pratt. Tiara, great game. Looked like you started out a little cold in the first half on the offensive side of the ball. I won't give you too much of a hard time, but what was your mentality coming in the second half? I mean, you really attacked the basket and got into the lane and looked like that number 8, 9 ranked player in the country that we're all used to seeing.
I mean, just kept playing hard, not letting the frustration from the first half get to me. So just get my teammates involved when I could and get into the basket when I could.
And what did your coach say going in the second half there? You guys were trailing, obviously, first quarter, going into halftime. Did she say anything? I mean, not even just on the offensive side, but you guys look like you picked it up on the defensive end as well.
She just said play our game because the first half we really wasn't playing our game. So second half we came out and did what we know how to do, pressure the ball, get to the basket, run our offenses, things like that.
And you guys have had 2 tough back-to-back games here, so you're looking forward to kind of just getting in the second half here and playing the kind of basketball that you're used to.
Yeah, just getting ready for the district tournament. So we got to take it to these last couple teams and get ready for that.
And as a team and individually, what are you looking forward to? As a senior, obviously your last few games here are coming up, and are you looking district tournament? You individually, what are you looking to accomplish here?
Just take everything one game at a time, and we'll see what happens after that.
All right, well, thank you very much and great game.
You're welcome.
Standing here with Charnel Huggins from T.C. Williams. Charnel, congratulations on a great win.
Thank you.
You really came through in the last 30 seconds there for your team. You hit those 2 foul shots, and then you were able to score that layup there in the last 15 seconds. Just talk about that whole sequence of events.
Well, we were kind of down in the beginning, and I knew we had to pick it up because we can't go out losing. So I knew I had to pick it up and make sure I did what I could do for my team.
And as a senior, do you feel – I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But as an upperclassman, do you feel more pressure to kind of pick your team up and help out in that aspect?
Well, not pressure. I know it's my role, though, so I try to keep my head so that everybody can stay on the same level and we don't get out of hand.
And defensively, you guys look like you picked it up there in the second half. Do you just talk about that and what your coach has said to you? And as one of the older players on the team, did you all decide, look, it's time to just step up now and play the kind of defense that T.C. Williams is used to?
Yeah, we had to stay undefeated, and we heard our team on the sidelines doing our cheer, so it was very uplifting, I shall say, to hear them, and we knew we had to pull it out.
All right, and then coming in, you guys are coming up on districts here. Anything you're looking forward to? Any games specifically?
West Springfield. Again. Yes, right. we gotta knock them out next time.
All right, well, best of luck, and thank you, and congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
I'm here with T.C. Williams head coach Kavanaugh Hagan. Coach, congratulations on a very exciting win. You all, this is something I spoke with Tiara about as well, but you guys came out a little cold from the floor, and I know in one of the huddles you mentioned to the rest of the team, look, you can't stand around and watch T try to score herself. So how did you guys work through that?
What we did is we spreaded them out just like we did in our past games, and when we spread the whole defensive out, they have to come out and get us. If not, then, I know we were down at the time, but it pulls them out of their defense. And one-on-one, we seem to usually just get it and go. And I told the girls, I said, be ready when T drives to step in and get the layup. And that happened a couple of times. I mean, we got a short quarter jumper, and Huggy had a Charnel, you call her, sorry. She knocked it down and big, and she wasn't even playing much because she came in for Sade, who hurt her ankle. So she definitely stepped up big in the past 2 games. So I'm proud of her.
And then going into halftime, as you mentioned, you guys were trailing. What did you say at half? You guys came out, you look like a completely different team. And I think that's a TC Williams that most of us are used to seeing. But what at halftime did you say to them, or are they experienced enough that you don't have to say much? They know they just need to pick it up.
I kind of told them at halftime, I said, well, do you believe me now that they're a very good team and they're going to have we have a bullseye on our back every time we play anyone, because if they can knock us off, we made their season. So for us, the pressure is always there, no matter who we play in the competition. And Chrissy Kelly used to coach me when I was 12 and 13, and she's my mentor, and she's done amazing things with the program. And I just told the girls, I said, they're going to have a great game plan. They're going to come at you. They're big. I said, I'm exaggerating, 2 feet taller than you. And we had to have our assistant coach, the male, have to play on tweed during practice just so they can get the kind of physicality that she brings to the court. And they seem to sub just bigger and bigger and bigger girls, and I just sub smaller and smaller and smaller girls. So it's interesting. And the girls, they dug down, and we tend to dig holes, which I'm trying to get out of their system now, so they don't do that in the tournament and stop waiting until the 4th quarter to play.
And that's what I was going to ask. Going into the tournament, do you think these kind of games are going to help you, or would you? I mean, as a coach, of course, you'd prefer to get those 20-point wins, but this has to make them stronger mentally, knowing that they can come back from being down or I think the biggest deficit was 10.
Yeah, I think it was 10 or 11 at one time. And at one time out, I looked, I said, they're up 9, wake up, because this isn't working. It's one of those things, we couldn't knock down our shots. We weren't penetrating, getting fouls. We were watching and standing. So I'd say it's a great thing. I mean, for your team to feel that they can dig down and win and grit it out, I guess you could say. And we just know that we need to not wait like we have been. And to have a win at West Springfield in overtime and a win here, it's been 2 emotional games back to back. Sure. So it wasn't like a 40-point win and then a overtime. It was a overtime now down to the last minute, and then it's great basketball, and I love to see college or high school basketball girls be as competitive as it is.
No, exactly. And congratulations on the win, and best of luck the rest of the season and going into the tournament. Okay. Take care. Thank you. I'm standing here with Chrissy Kelly, head coach of South County Secondary School. Coach, tough loss, but I thought your girls put out a great effort tonight. Do you just want to discuss how you prepared coming into this game?
Defensive rebound, positioning on the ball, defense, and unfortunately our defense did not come through in the end. We gave up 30 offensive rebounds, and that's not going to win you any games.
And looking at your roster, you have a fairly young team, so you have to be happy with the effort that they put out, especially Simone I thought she did an outstanding job on Pratt tonight. But on the offensive end, as you said, it looked like you got a little flustered in the second half there with their press. How can you correct that moving forward in the second half here of the season?
It's just understanding. I think what our biggest issue is a lack of a point guard and the experience, and that definitely showed tonight, but that's a given. I'm okay with the 30, 40 turnovers that we have, but I can't accept the 30 offensive rebounds that we gave up, because we can control that aspect of the game, and we didn't, and in the long run it cost us.
Obviously, as a coach, and your players are upset with the loss after putting forth such a great effort, but it looks like this is a game that a team can build on. Take the momentum into the second half here, and are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, I guess our biggest issue is the first time we played them, it was the same scenario. It's the things that we can control, and we don't control it. And, down the line, we gave up offensive rebounds, and we missed free throws, and all the little things that are in our control. The experience I can't teach. That's just going to come with time. And we didn't get it done. We gave up 26 offensive rebounds the first time and gave up 30 this time. So,
well, it was a great showing by your team tonight. I'm sorry you couldn't come out with the loss, but you definitely had the fans and everyone else excited for a great game. But thank you, and good luck the rest of the season.
I appreciate it.
So there you see it, TC Williams with the big win. Tiara Ruffin-Pratt scoring 23 points. Well, before we go, again, we just want to thank the folks that helped make this program possible, our friends at CCI Screen Printing, and remind you that you can get copies of all of our programming at Pressbox Video. Don't forget to check out our new and improved website and join us as fans on the Facebook page. That's it from us tonight here at FSR. We'll see you next week.